Ladies and gentlemen, get your buckets ready because it's time to milk the Soulsborne games one last time. This time, as voted by you, I platinumed, in air quotes, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Now, obviously, this is a DLC, and therefore it doesn't have a platinum trophy. But when I platinumed Elden Ring, I never covered the DLC, which I don't regret because that would have been like an hour-long video, and I don't think anybody wants to watch that. But then I proceeded to cover all the DLCs for every other Soulsborne game. So I never ended up talking about the biggest, most fleshed out DLC of them all. And when I say fleshed out, I mean it. This DLC is bigger than Demon's Souls, and it also was nominated for Game of the Year. I still don't know if I agree with that decision, but we'll go with it as evidence for it deserving a platinum. So therefore, I made my own trophy list. It consists of a trophy for each Remembrance boss plus Bale the Dread, because he technically doesn't count as one. A couple of other random bosses that I thought were worth fighting. 2 trophies for entering some hard to reach areas. They've had many trophies like this in the past. 3 trophies for collecting all the legendary armaments, spells, and spirit ashes, a trophy for lighting the tree on fire, and a trophy for beating the game. Along with the platinum itself, that's 25 trophies, and I'm happy with that number. I'd rate this platinum a 6 out of 10, and I'd say you could do this in, I don't know, like 40 hours or something. I did this in about 15 hours, but if you never played the DLC, I'd say about 40 hours is fair. Alright, let's get into it. The game begins in Mohg's Palace, and as you can see, I'm doing the same build that I did in the original video. I then meet a new NPC named Needle Knight Letta, and she tells me to touch Miquella's gross looking cocoon arm. That shit's gotta be sticky. And doing so officially brings me to the Land of Shadow. And oh my god, it's good to be back in Elden Ring, because 5 seconds into the DLC we get one of the greatest views in gaming. Elden Ring truly never disappoints with the visuals. I first fought the Knight of the Solitary Jail, and I died to him. I am pissed at myself. But I beat him on the second try, no trophy, that was just a warm-up. Then I entered a cave that I think is really cool looking. Again, it has absolutely amazing visuals and art direction. All this for a random cave that you might never even come across. And at the end of the cave is demi-human Swordmaster Owns. This is a very fun and unique fight because this guy is one of the only bosses that is actually smaller than the player. But don't underestimate him. He's aggressive as hell and there's almost no time to breathe in this fight. You better be locked the fuck in or you're getting frostbite procced. To counter this though, they made him very easy to stagger. So if you stand up to him and scrap with him, he's not too bad. Kinda just starts to feel like animal abuse after a little bit though, I will admit. I killed him pretty easily, he's not very hard, and I'm giving myself a trophy because this dude is literally Yoda. Yeah, I just killed the strongest Jedi of all time. I better get a trophy for that. Then I entered the first actual main area of the game, Bellarat Tower Settlement. And it's a solid start. It has some of the most cracked enemies I've ever seen, but it's all part of the experience. At the end of this dungeon is the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, one of the baddest motherfuckers I've seen so far. I do not want to be standing across from this absolute psychopath. The fight is quite fun though. Sometimes there's camera problems, but it's not that bad most of the time. The main difficulty is the fact that this boss is very weird and does really unorthodox movements that could easily screw up your dodge timings. When he gets down to about 75% HP, he harnesses the power of the elements. First he channels lightning, and now all of his attacks create lightning bolts that you have to dodge. His next phase is frost. Ice spikes will now come up from the ground after his attacks. This one is the most annoying for me to deal with. And the last phase is wind. He throws tornadoes at you, and some of his attacks have a larger AoE. This one isn't too bad. Overall, really cool boss and a great start to the DLC. And being a Remembrance boss, of course I'm giving myself a trophy for this. Next I went through Castle Ensis, and this is almost like Rhea Lucaria combined with Stormvale Castle. I killed this guy named Moonrithil. He's an actual op. Do not let this man live. And waiting for me at the end of the castle is R'Lana the Twin Moon Knight. And right off the bat, I just want to say, FromSoft not giving her any sort of cutscene before this fight is ridiculous. She got robbed. This is one of the best bosses in the DLC. R'Lana is actually Renala from the base game's sister who left Rhea Lucaria so she could get impaled by Messmer. All 18 inches. The first phase is very fun. She's extremely fast and aggressive and some of her combos feel like they just never end. Once you get her to the second phase though, she just basically turns into Pontiff Sullivan. And I'm all for this. If you watch my Dark Souls 3 video, I said that Pontiff Sullivan is my favorite boss from that game. And I actually think R'Lana is a better boss than him, especially when she uses this absolutely insane attack where she throws moons at the ground and blows up the entire arena. This fight is badass. I still want to do a playthrough of the game using her swords, and I get a trophy for beating R'Lana. She is a Remembrance boss who gets no cutscene. You a bitch for that, Miyazaki. I then just stared at the scenery for a solid 5 minutes. I don't know if it's healthy to take in this much good graphics. The next step for the platinum was... Wait, what is that? Do you hear that? Is that goat knees? Caves? You're damn right it is, because that's Egon, motherfucker. Pound for pound, the greatest NPC of all time. He's better than Solaire. Yeah, I said it. I don't give a shit. I'll die on this hill. He's not better than Sigurd, though. Sigurd is still the undisputed GOAT. The next area after Egon is the Jagged Peak, and I started to go through it right now, but I won't finish the area until much later when I'm fully prepared, because one of the harder bosses is at the end of it, and I don't really want to fight him right now. So for now, I went through another really cool looking cave, and at the end of it is the Ancient Dragon Man. This is just an NPC fight, but he does have one of the coolest weapons in the DLC, the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana, which I have used before in the past. It's a great weapon. This fight is very easy, but it's fun, and I'm giving myself a trophy because, come on, he's an ancient dragon. Man. Next, I set out to get the first legendary weapon of the playthrough, and it's locked behind one of the ruined forges, a new type of dungeon. And I think these are really fun to go through. It's always some sort of puzzle to try to find the way through. At the end of the area, though, I find the Ancient Meteoric Ore Greatsword. This is without a doubt my favorite weapon in all of Elden Ring and possibly the whole franchise. Look at this thing. This is one of the coolest weapon arts I've ever seen. Moving on to the Shadow Keep. This is one of the greatest dungeons that FromSoft has ever created, and I spent a lot of time in this place because there's two different entrances to it that take you to completely different sections of the game. Also, look at this place from a distance. It's fucking scary looking. Unfortunately, blocking me from going through this area is the Golden Hippopotamus, one of, if not the worst boss in the DLC. This fight is just stupid. It's not interesting. He's just a damage sponge, and he turns into a porcupine in his second stage and starts shooting spikes at you. Garbage, but I'm taking a trophy for it because it is a major fight in the game. Continuing in the Shadow Keep, I dropped down a ledge and found a secret coffin. And of course, my character's instinct, just like all the other times in Elden Ring where I found a coffin, is to lay down and then encase himself into the coffin to go down a waterfall. Hey, I can't even knock this because apparently it works every time. And this eventually leads to a giant catacomb where I go through some crazy segments, like this one with this giant fireball imp. You don't see this in all the catacombs. I wish every catacomb was as cool as this one. And past him is Jory the Elder Inquisitor. And this boss is also not that good. He runs away and summons allies the entire time, and he also spams magic at you. It's meh, not my favorite, but it's not bad. I'll give myself a trophy for it because you need to kill him to enter the Abyssal Woods, which I'm giving myself another trophy for. Listen, I just wanted a double trophy pop. Let me have this. But the Abyssal Woods are scary, so I'm not going to go through it right now, and I will instead go back to the Shadow Keep and go down another pathway that leads to Raw. And this just might be the prettiest area I've ever seen FromSoft make. Oh my god. Again, same as the Abyssal Woods, I'm not going to fully explore this area right now because clearing the Shadow Keep is more important, and this is more meant for a later game. So for now, I'm just gonna sightsee a bunch. I can't wait for FromSoft's next mainline game, whatever it may be. I know the visuals are gonna go crazy. Okay, now back to Shadow Keep. No more sightseeing. Not now. Okay, maybe just a little more. No, okay, I'm actually done now, I promise. After going through the Shadow Keep, which is a very confusing dungeon to get through, I will say, I got lost a couple of times trying to remember where to go. I completely forgot the route. But eventually I made my way up to the top of the castle where I find the main man himself, Messmer the Impaler. This is my favorite fight in all of Elden Ring. Everything this man does just feels amazing to try and dodge. It's one of those fights that turns into a dance. Or I could just face tank everything and bonk him to death, which is kind of what I ended up doing. The Gut Sword is just ridiculous. You don't have to use much of your brain to beat the game using this thing. And then he enters phase 2. First of all, phase 2 gets an entire cutscene for the transition, so you know this is going to be a good fight. This man rips out his eyeball that was sealing away an ancient snake god and just powers up into Super Saiyan. Also, another thing to mention, this dude is Melania and Miquella's older brother. I mention that here because I think he looks exactly like Melania here, which is pretty cool. Second phase Messmer is scary as hell. He does these full screen snake sweeping attacks, and I don't fully know how to dodge these, to be honest. They're very weird, but I did it once here in this clip. I felt like an absolute god pulling that off. This fight overall is so damn fun. The presentation of it is immaculate. This is probably in my top 3 Soulsborne boss fights, along with Ishin and, I don't know, probably like Radon or something. Top tier boss, and you bet your ass I'm getting a trophy for this. The next area I tackled is the Fissure, a massive underground cavern hidden deep below the Cerulean coast, another beautiful area. The end of the Fissure is seemingly a dead end, which only means one thing. Like Rom and Midra before, I just gotta take the plunge and jump off the edge. Speaking of Midra, this area is literally just a copy and paste of his arena, but with a purple filter on it this time. Not that that's a bad thing, because Midra's arena is sick, but I just thought that that was funny, and I wanted to point it out. The boss itself, however, might be the complete opposite of Midra, because this dude is basically just shiny Orphan of Kos riding a horse. The Putrescent Knight, as he's called, is still a very solid boss fight. My favorite part is when he jumps off the horse and this little dodging minigame starts, where you gotta time your dodges well enough to be able to avoid both the knight and the horse. And the weapon this guy uses is comically curved. How is anybody supposed to wield this thing and be effective at any form of combat? The boss uses it like a boomerang, which is pretty goofy, but honestly that's probably the most value you'll get out of this thing during a fight. He also uses ghost flame attacks that cover the whole arena, which can be avoided by jumping. Overall, I think this fight is very good. One of the weaker Remembrance bosses in the DLC for sure, but it's by no means bad or anything close to that. And of course, I get another trophy for beating him. Next, I entered the Church District segment of the Shadow Keep, which is far below the previous section with Messmer, and this is literally New Londo Ruins from Dark Souls 1. You even have to drain the water to gain access to the lower level. The newly uncovered lower level is home to the Shadow Tree avatar. This boss is alright, nothing out of this world. It's fairly simple. Hitting its head does double damage, although I will say this is my first time fighting this boss with just the gut sword, and it's definitely a little tricky to hit the head with a weapon as slow as this. My favorite part of this fight though is definitely the fake out deaths. You fully deplete its health bar and it looks like you've won the fight until it resprouts from out of the ground with another full HP bar. During the second stage it gets faster with this new charge attack that is quite fun to dodge, and it also looks very goofy. Other than that one attack though, it's basically more of the same. I killed it, got a trophy, and oh shit, never mind, there's a phase 3. This is one of the very rare 3-stage boss fights in the Soulsborne games. Basically all this adds is a couple of ridiculously overpowered nuke attacks. These cover like the whole arena almost, but the silver lining to them is that if you survive, the avatar will get stunned for a while, allowing you to deal some free damage. But that's the Shadow Tree avatar in a nutshell. Not my favorite, but again, by no means is it bad. I get a trophy because yes, it's actually dead this time. And before I moved on, I just wanted to take a quick second to admire the arena, because this is actually the closest you can get to the Shadow Tree in the entire game. And every time in this game where you can get really close to either the Erdtree or the Shadow Tree or whatever, just like a really big structure or whatnot, it's always really awesome. Then I went back into the Shadow Keep one more time because there's still another route that I haven't gone down yet. See what I mean when I say this is the best dungeon they've ever made? Pretty much the whole DLC revolves around the Shadow Keep. This part that I'm going through right now takes me up to the rafters, which is kind of hard to navigate. It's very annoying. It's like that one segment from Honor Orlando in Dark Souls 1 with the white ninja guys. I forgot what they were called. Then I dropped down from the rafters and went down a previously inaccessible elevator. So I had to go all the way up just to go all the way down. This place is fucking confusing, I'm telling you. But I gotta get through it because it leads directly to the next boss, Commander Gaius. And I played this DLC when it first came out back in 2024. This guy was my biggest op. I hated this motherfucker with a burning passion. And now in 2025, I think he's pretty good. Yeah, this fight's fun as hell. Some of the hitboxes are a little jank, but I don't even care. He's a guy on a boar who uses gravity magic. This guy trained Radon. Yes, that Radon. Gaius is cracked. I found most of his combos to be fun to dodge, and his gravity magic is badass. The fight isn't perfect though. As I said, some of the hitboxes are bullshit. And being a boss with a mount, he sometimes just runs away for a while and it's hard to catch up to him. But hey, that's not really a Gaius problem, that's just a horse problem. But Gaius has redeemed himself in my eyes, and that's enough for me. I get another trophy for beating him. Let's move on to something that I find truly ridiculous. There is still an area I don't have access to, that being the Hinterlands. And the way to get to this place is to go to Bonnie Village, a tiny speck on the map that people could easily miss, find this random emote on a tree, and then use it in this room to open a secret door. I know this whole thing has lore implications with Queen Marika, but still, my dumbass would have never found this on my own. I don't know how anyone found this on their own. That's kind of crazy to me. Like, it wouldn't even compute to put these things together at all. Again, knowing the lore behind why these things connect to each other, it makes perfect sense. But when the game first came out, nobody knew the lore. So how did they put 2 and 2 together? But it doesn't really matter because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for more sightseeing. The Hinterlands are another beautiful masterpiece made by FromSoft. They were just going off with this DLC. I don't know what they were on, but they made some of the most beautiful areas of all time. But before we go through this area, I've put it off long enough. It's time to go through the Abyssal Woods. I've made comparisons to Dark Souls in this video, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bloodborne location. This place is dark, it's desolate, and it's fucking awesome looking. looking. Eventually, I find an abandoned mansion with a bunch of beheaded corpses outside. Let's enter the building. That sounds like a great idea. Going through the winding halls of this place gets a little confusing, but it's great and actually scary, something that these games can't pull off too often. At the end of the mansion is the homeowner himself, Midra, and he dies in 2 seconds. This area sucks. I'm done. Just kidding. That was just a teaser for what's to come. This man is about to crash the fuck out. He grabs the spear that has been impaled through his skull into his entire body and just pulls it out somehow. He decapitates himself in the process, because who needs a head when you're the goddamn Lord of Frenzied Flame? That's right, somebody needs to stop this menace. This is my second favorite fight in the DLC, behind only Messmer himself. This feels like a classic Dark Souls boss dialed up to 11. All of his shit does madness build up, so prepare to lose your mind. This boss though is actually slower compared to most others in this game. He doesn't attack for 20 minutes straight without any openings, which is a common complaint that people have with a lot of bosses in this DLC. He nukes the mansion when he gets low enough on health. The fact that this phase switch changes the look of the arena is very cool. Only a few other bosses do this. The music is also phenomenal during this fight. Again, it's actually scary. Hey, I'd certainly be scared if this motherfucker shot laser beams at me from his head. Being able to fight a Lord of Frenzied Flame is just so sick. The Frenzied Flame is one of the elements of Elden Ring that I thought was criminally underdeveloped in terms of enemies and locations, and this DLC completely fixed that for me. Absolutely incredible boss. I have no complaints. It's perfection.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Next, I completed the finger quest in the Cathedral of Manus Matir. This guy Ymir tells me to go to these 2 finger ruins on the map and play a giant horn in the middle of each. Okay, sounds easy enough. I should say it would be easy enough if it weren't for these walking penises. The first ruin is in the Cerulean Coast, and the second one is in the Hinterlands. After ringing both bells, Ymir will be mysteriously gone, and there's a button on his chair that reveals a secret basement. Turns out there's a third finger ruin underneath the map, and after sounding the horn, I get teleported to the next boss. This is Matir, Mother of Fingers, and this might be the weakest remembrance boss in the DLC. I'm not sure about that though. The fight is okay. It plays a lot like a Breedis or Amygdala from Bloodborne. They're not bad bosses, they're just not anything incredible either. I will say I like the gimmick that if you attack from the sides, you get punished. You have to fight the boss head on, or the fingers on the side will combo you into oblivion, so don't do that. For its second phase, a giant orb will spawn on its back, and the boss will start using more magic-based attacks, which admittedly do look incredibly cool, but I don't have too much to say about this boss. It's fine. I get a trophy for beating it. This arena is sick though. I never really looked at it in detail before making this video. This is one of the best they've made in my opinion. The atmosphere is really cool. When I go back to the cathedral, I get invaded by one of Ymir's servants, and after killing her, I fight the man himself, who has clearly gone insane.
I will be the true mother, and I will be the only mother.
I'm giving myself a trophy for this fight too, because although it's ridiculously easy, it's the culmination of an entire quest line, so I think it warrants a trophy. After this very strange quest that convinces me that Miyazaki has a finger fetish, I went through the rest of the Jagged Peak, and in the process I fought Ancient Dragon Senesax, the worst fight in the entire game. What a surprise! The Ancient Dragon fight is fucking dog shit. All of his attacks have aftershock effects, which means you have to dodge everything twice. It's just so bad. Why did they make it like this? Why can't every dragon fight just be as good as Midir? 90% of them are just so poorly made. I'm giving myself a trophy just for how annoying this boss is. It's truly terrible. Don't even bother fighting this guy. Just run past him. You could totally do that. I then killed another dragon boss, and after that, the goat tells me to summon him when I go fight Baal. Who the fuck is Baal? Baal the Dread is the greatest dragon fight ever made. Yes, he's better than Midir. I'm also breaking the no summon rule just because Egon shit talks Baal throughout the fight, and he has the hardest dialogue ever spoken.
Curse you, Baal! I hereby vow you will rue this day, but I will riddle with holes your rotten hide with a hail of harpoons!
Bale is just so cool though. Quick lore on him. He fought Placidusax, took 2 of his heads, wears them on his back, and Placidusax cut off Bale's leg and also like half of his wings. Already off to a great start. This boss is badass. Bale also mechanically is so good. It's not a generic dragon fight like we were talking about before, where you just hit the body the whole time while not really knowing what he's doing. Although you can hit his little nubby leg for some big damage, but I kind of have a hard time reaching that spot, so I just go for his head. Bale is very well telegraphed. He has a great moveset that feels fair. First phase is actually pretty easy in my opinion, but second stage is where things just go absolutely off the wall bonkers, because this man grows his wings back, he throws meteors at you, nukes the map, shoots laser beams at you, and it all wraps up into, my opinion, the best visual boss fight ever made. There's not one thing this guy does that isn't cool. FromSoft, I beg you, if you're gonna put a dragon in the game, please make it like Bale or Midra, not Senesax or like, I don't know, the ancient dragon from Dark Souls 2. That fight was fucking rage bait. But this boss is so peak. He even manages to be badass in his death animation. The fact that we got Bale, Messmer, and Midra in the same DLC is crazy. I can't handle that much peak. I get a trophy for beating Bale. Thank you for the help, Egon. Then I went for the next legendary weapon, and this process is actually pretty cool. You have to go to an altar and get a stone sword, and this isn't the legendary weapon yet. We gotta go upgrade this thing. Back in Raw, there's an invisible bridge that leads to another altar, which turns my sword into the Sword of Light. There's also a Sword of Dark upgrade, but you can only have one of them in a playthrough, so I'm just counting the Sword of Light as both of them. Raw also has another secret, and honestly, this one, I don't know how people found it. While going through the main route, there's a drop-off at a random cliff, and it takes you to a secret elevator. This brings you to an ancient temple that you could previously see, but it was completely inaccessible and presumably impossible to get to. I would have never looked off this ledge to even find this pathway though. It's very cool how connected this world is. The boss in the temple though is fucking dog shit. It's another divine lion, but this one summons death blight frogs for some reason. Like why? There's no correlation between these two creatures at all. This is just another form of FromSoft rage bait. They found a way to make a previously good fight garbage, but it does give me the first and only legendary spell in the DLC, so I will get a trophy for it. I then went to get the 2 legendary spirit ashes that are in the game. The first one is in a hidden area in a cliffside, and the second is in another ruined forge. And the one I get from the forge is actually of the guy who created the forge, so that's cool. Then I fought the main boss of Raw, that being Romina, Saint of the Bud, and I think this boss is very underrated. It's definitely one of the easiest DLC bosses in the game, but funny story, this fight took me like 5 or 6 hours when I first got the DLC, because I found this area when I was like Erdtree blessing level 4, I think. So I basically did no damage, and she literally one-shot me, but I was determined to beat her. I fought her way too early. I thought Raw was just the next location, because it's not really very hard to get to. I found her before I found Messmer, but when you fight her at the proper level, she's very easy. She's like Quelaag from Dark Souls 1, or Scorpion Najka from Dark Souls 2, but she's way better than them. Like Midra, her combos are fairly simple. She does do Scarlet Rot damage though, so that could be potentially fatal, and she throws explosive butterflies at you. Another fun fact, while Malenia hated the Scarlet Rot, Romina embraced it, so maybe if Malenia was more open to the rot, she'd have like a centipede body or something, and there would probably be a lot more weird fan art of her. This boss is great, again, extremely underrated, and I get a trophy for beating her. Behind Romina's arena, we can find the Sealing Tree, and when I burn the tree with Messmer's flame, I got a trophy and access to the final area of the game, Inira Limb, which is suspended above Bellarat and has been there the whole time, but it was just encased in shadow. I fought Needle Knight Letta, the girl from all the way in the beginning, and she brought 2 of her friends to gank fight me. This is the worst boss in the entire DLC. It's so bad. People cheese it all the time just because they don't feel like dealing with it, and I don't blame them because it's just not fun at all. Basically, these people have been brainwashed by Mikola, and they're all idiots for following him, so they have to die by my hand. I'm also now realizing that I should have given myself a trophy for this fight because it is pretty important, but I kind of forgot about it when I was making the list, so whatever. Now there's 26 trophies. Fuck it. Then I went for the final legendary weapon, which is possibly even more well hidden than the invisible bridge. You have to jump off a ledge and land on a ridge in the wall that doesn't even look possible to walk on at first glance. Then I did some parkour that dropped me back into Bellarat, so I'm way down now. And after getting past some tough enemies, I found the Euphoria. This is a very cool weapon, but I've still yet to use it in a playthrough. I've heard it wasn't that good. The journey to get it makes it that much better though. But now there's only one thing standing standing in my way. The final boss of the DLC is fucking insane. This is Prime Radahn. No Scarlet Rot to hold him back. But he doesn't have his horse with him, so I have to automatically dock some points. Leonard is goated. The opening cutscene for Radahn goes so fucking hard. As expected, he is Radahn after all. But at this point, if you were playing the game for the first time, you're probably wondering, how the fuck is Radahn alive, and why isn't Miquella the final boss? Let me explain the 4D chess that this dude Miquella was playing. So initially, everyone thought Mohg was really creepy because he kidnapped Miquella and did some weird stuff with a blood god, but it turns out that Miquella has the power to charm people and force them to love him and obey him. So this stupid child made Mohg capture him so he could be transported to the Shadow Realm. That was step 1. Step 2 is on me, the player. Miquella needed me to kill Radahn and Mohg in my original playthrough so he could take Radahn's soul and put it in Mohg's body. Miquella hates Mohg. He doesn't give a fuck about him. His soul was thrown away to who knows where. Mohg is just gone. All to make way for this new Radahn puppet who will serve as Miquella's lord. Miquella himself will then ascend to godhood and rule the world. In short, we thought that this whole time Mohg was the Mohg Lester, but he actually got Miquelested. Free my boy Mohg. The first phase of the Radahn fight is pretty damn fun. It just feels like a duel between two titans. He also does a bunch of cool techniques like Rock Sling and Lion's Claw. He just like me for real. He even does a Blood Flame attack since he is using Mohg's body, so I guess he retains some of his abilities or something like that. I don't really know. So the first phase isn't very hard, but then the second phase just hits you like a fucking truck. Because before Radahn gets the chance to crash the fuck out, like seriously, look at him. He looks like he's about to eat me. Miquella himself emerges, jumps on Radahn's back, and he starts talking shit.
Aspiring lord of the old order.
Who the fuck do you think you are, you little shit? This is my world. The second phase is basically Lothric and Lorien from Dark Souls 3 on crack. Radahn gets a holy aftershock on pretty much all of his attacks. He casually just nukes the map sometimes. He zips around all over the place like the Flash. He creates after images of himself like he's fucking Goku. And he even has this attack combo, which I didn't know this until recently, is directly taken from Pontiff Sullivan. Why does bro know how to do this? This guy is just absolutely busted. And another thing to note, they nerfed this boss. He used to be even stronger. They also made the lighting effects a lot less obnoxious. You used to not be able to see shit during this fight. This was actually my first time fighting him since he got nerfed and all those changes happened, and I like the boss a lot more. I used to really kind of hate him. When he gets to about 20% health, he even does a modified version of his Meteor Strike from the OG Radahn fight. He also takes absolute ages to stagger because the windows that you get a chance to hit him are so tiny. It feels like it's never my turn to attack during this fight. Overall, this isn't my favorite fight. I think some of his attacks are just obnoxious for the sake of difficulty. While I was fighting the boss though, I hit a sick clip. On the run where I beat him, I staggered him as he was going for the Meteor Strike, so I just canceled his signature move. I felt like the final boss of Elden Ring when I pulled that shit off. Hide your wallet, Radahn, because I'm coming for those aura points. Of course, I get a trophy for beating Radahn and Miquella, and then a short cutscene plays showing Miquella just being a little bitch, and then I get the last trophy for the platinum, and that was Shadow of the Erdtree. The fact that I could make this long of a video just on a DLC speaks volumes. It's so good. If you haven't bought it yet, I'd highly recommend it. This DLC has better content than most full $70 games nowadays. I wasn't lying when I said it was bigger than Demon Souls. It genuinely is. And Miyazaki said this shit is the size of Limgrave in Elden Ring. That's such bullshit. If I had one complaint though, some areas like the Abyssal Woods, Cerulean Coast, and the Hinterlands are just so much empty space with not that much going on in them. Like, there's really nothing in them. Even if they do look really cool, I just wish there was a little more there. And now we can finally, definitely, officially put the Soulsborne games to rest. There is no stone left unturned until the next one drops. Next up, I'm working on Lies of P. Y'all voted for it. I'm having a lot of fun with that game right now. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Take care. Get out of here.